Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth. NFL Week 17, the final week of the season. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud, and we're giving you the ATS picks. Super interesting year, basically because we all have almost the exact same number of wins now. 16 weeks through the season, 16 wins, one per week. I mean, if it wasn't for some ties, I'd be where Bud is at 500. And Phil, you've pulled ahead, but this is the final week. See who comes out on top with the most wins. We are all going to hit that 55% mark, Bud. So 2-0 for you, 2-0 for me, 2-0 for you. How's that?
What do I win? What do I win if I get the top overall spot here? Do I get a trophy or something?
Well, you're the trophy guy. I'm on board with a trophy.
I gotta go buy a trophy now for this.
I'll come up with something good. I'll do some fancy graphics for you.
Perfect. There you go.
Okay.
All right. I know you stole the Giants Dallas game, but I think we all know where my allegiance is going to stand on that one. So I'll let you pick that one.
Okay.
In that same theme, though, I'm taking the Eagles to beat Washington because if Taylor Heinicke is at starting quarterback for the Washington football team, there's no chance in hell they're winning that game. I don't care who they're playing. That offense is awful. Now, defense is very, very good. I think the Eagles, I don't know, but the problem is if the Eagles don't care, maybe they don't show up. I don't know, but it's a division rival. I'm still picking the Eagles because I need it. So I'm taking that. I'll take the Eagles and I'll get 1.5. The 1.5 is interesting. I think that's because they don't know who's starting a quarterback yet. And then the last one, I'll take the Seahawks because I think the Seahawks are still battling for playoff seeding. And I mean, the Niners just kind of got their doors blown out last week. So I'll take Seattle -6.
49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals last week.
Damn it. I'm thinking of 2 weeks ago when they lost to Dallas. That's what I'm thinking.
Seattle's infinitely better. I like your pick.
Yeah. I'm thinking 2 weeks ago. I'm actually waiting for this season to be over. It's been a very long season. And if it wasn't for the NFC East being so crappy, I shouldn't have anything to be rooting for anyway on Sunday, but I do. So I can't complain.
I mean, the Jets season just started 2 weeks ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. I'm actually going to have two teams to be hopefully rooting for on Sunday, the Giants and the Eagles.
You never thought you'd be rooting for the Eagles, would you?
Oh, my God. If there isn't a worse fan base in the history of NFL football, it's them. My God.
All right, bud. Who you got for Week 17?
I'm going to pick Baltimore over Cincinnati. Baltimore is clicking on all cylinders right now. They're laying 11 points. I know it's a high margin, but what they did to the Giants this weekend is just I think a precursor of what this team is capable of doing now that they're all healthy and they're free from COVID. They look like they're a really good football team, 11 points against a bad Cincinnati team who got lucky last week against Pittsburgh. Or was that 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they got a winning
the
streak.
same boat. That was 2 weeks ago.
Streak going.
Yeah, so I don't think they'll lay the points. And I'm going to take the Jets. What I have seen is that these are two really bad football teams coming up here. And I can't believe that New England is as bad as they are. And the fact that it's Week 17 and they're not going to make the playoffs and they're only giving 2.5 points to the Jets. Which is, I said to Phil when we just did the podcast, I always feel like when they play the Patriots in Week 17, it's like a walkthrough for the Patriots. That's how bad it is. But I'm going to take the Jets. I mean, I don't think New England's very good. I don't think Cam even plays the whole game as bad as he's played. So that's what I'm going to do.
No, I mean they're riding a win streak. The Jets are. They've looked like the better team. It's a solid pick. They're getting points. I am also heading a pick in the NFC East. I'm picking the Giants. They're getting points at home against the Cowboys. Vegas loves the Cowboys. People love to bet on the Cowboys. They're not a better football team. Giants got a much better defense. I don't really trust either team's offense, but the Giants' defense is infinitely better than the Dallas defense, even if the Giants got pushed around by the Ravens, who obviously are very good.
They didn't give up 42 points like the Browns did, though.
That's true. They didn't.
I would say both of those teams are even right now, to be quite honest with you.
They do feel even, which is why I'm going to back the home team. And normally the home team's giving up points, but they're getting the points, so I'm going to take them at home.
I think you're right, though. I really think that they you're right about people loving to back Dallas and put I think that has something to do with this. I do, but
it's a screwy line, and I jumped out at me, and I like the Giants a little bit better anyways. So I'm taking those points.
Vegas wasn't built by idiots.
No, that's for sure. And then the other game is I'm going to pick against the Jacksonville Jaguars because even though they have already secured the number 1 pick, I want to avenge our week 1 defeat at the hands of the Jaguars, and I'm going to take the Colts to beat the Jaguars in week 17. It bookends the season. They are giving up, I think, 2 touchdowns. But the Colts are fighting for their playoff lives. They're a really good football team right now. Jacksonville, I don't know who's playing their quarterback position. They had some decent defensive stops last week, but basically just got blown off the field by a really bad Bears team. So I'm not afraid of giving up these points, especially when the Colts got something to play for. This is an open and shut. I'm taking Indy over Jacksonville. Those are your 6 picks for NFL Week 17. Let's go out on a high note. I don't know about the Jets or the Giants going out on high notes, but it seems like luck is favoring both teams as we head into the final week of the season. I want to start with the Jets because we got a lot to talk about with the Giants, and they're fighting for the playoffs. But the Jets have looked like a different team, and I think it's since Greg Williams got fired. I don't know if it's like a complete turn since then. Bud, is there anything to that? I mean, normally when a coach gets fired, the team does turn a corner. But normally it's the head coach, not the defensive coordinator. But something's changed on the team, and I know they really, really, really wanted that first win. And then the second win came, like, it wasn't easy, but the Browns did not look like the good football team we expect. Now, granted, they lost all of their wide receivers, so I understand there's a caveat. But what's your feeling on this Jets team? Who you think is going to beat New England at the end of the year?
I think that they fired Greg Williams, and the next game they played Seattle, and they got absolutely embarrassed. And I literally thought that that's how the team was going to just continue to play. Yeah. Their schedule was brutal, and I didn't foresee them winning any football games. I think they got lucky last week. I think if Cleveland had all of their weapons, the Jets wouldn't stand a chance. Cleveland's defense didn't show up either. I mean, in all fairness, I mean, they're a good defense that decided not to participate. Sam didn't look great. They had no running game. I mean, Jamison Crowder had the longest touchdown pass of the year for the Jets.
Nice.
So, I mean, what I think is too little, too late, and they weren't a good football team to begin with. You could clearly see that. And to your point, this is why you don't fire Adam Gase, because if you fire Adam Gase midseason, maybe this team turns it around a little bit, and maybe they have more wins. I don't think that they do because they have no weapons, and Sam hasn't played great and everything else. But
so Samini covers the Jets for ESPN. And I think it was him that compared Darnold. He said, at worst, he's turnover prone, and at best, he's a game manager. And that's what we've seen from him in his career so far. Yet he's played mistake-free football the last 2 weeks. He's fighting for a job anywhere, and he hasn't turned the ball over, and they've won. And we said the same thing about Daniel Jones earlier in the year when the Giants had a win streak. He didn't turn the ball over, they won. It's not coincidence if the quarterback makes no mistakes and these teams are winning. So it kind of lines up nicely most times. But I read that, and I'm like, oh, crap. Do I really want this guy as my quarterback when the best he can do is a poor man's Brian Fitzpatrick? So I'm like, it's tough.
But what are the options? I mean, we talked about this 3 weeks ago, right? I mean, he's 23 years old. He's technically younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
He's just not in the right system.
What I think the Jets.
Trubisky has not played. Trubisky didn't play well earlier in the year, but the last 3 weeks he's looked great. Now I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but what I'm saying is that in this league, if you have a good defense, you can have a. Yeah, I mean, look at Mark Sanchez, right? Mark Sanchez led back-to-back AFC Championship games. Their defense was number 1 in the league both years.
Right.
So,
and if you're a game manager who doesn't make mistakes, you could absolutely win the Super Bowl with a great defense and a solid running game. Absolutely. But there are 3 or 4 really good quarterbacks that can go anywhere in the first round, and we don't. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know enough about them, but I could see the Jets picking somebody mid to late first round as a quarterback because they have Seattle's pick. They could trade up with that pick. I mean, Seattle's pick is going to probably be in the 20s, maybe late teens. I don't know how early it is. They won't. They better not go number 2 quarterback. I would be so upset.
Well, I said to Phil, I said if I were the Jets, I would take that pick and I would either pick a wide receiver because you need a wide receiver desperately, or you take it and you trade it and you stockpile picks. I mean, you could for the number 2 pick. I mean, we've seen what history will show you. You'll get a 1 this year, or a 2 this year, and a 1 next year. That's usually what you get. And if you can get that, that means you'll have 3 first-round picks next year.
Is that how Miami has the 5th overall pick this season?
Yes,
they did
because they traded Larry Tunsil to Houston.
Yeah,
and that's turning out to be a steal for Miami.
That team does not need a number 5 overall pick. Oh my goodness.
No, they do not.
Wow. All right, yeah, and Adam Gase is going to get fired after this week.
At least that's what they say.
Oh yeah, it was unofficially pre-announced. I mean, we assume that, and he's going to go coach quarterbacks for the Patriots, who have no quarterbacks, potentially.
Well, they'll have Jimmy Garoppolo next year, so
he can't keep him uninjured. Like he couldn't keep Tannehill uninjured either.
Nope.
All right, Phil. Let's talk about your Giants because you got nothing to say on the Jets. I don't blame you. Tell us about the Giants who are fighting to make the playoffs.
Well, as I said before, as it turns out, last week meant absolutely nothing because Washington lost and Dallas took care of Philly. Because if Dallas lost to Philly, Giants were eliminated. I don't think anyone realized that. I didn't even realize that until someone mentioned it. If Philly won that game, Giants were out. They were out.
Yeah. Well, Dallas blew them off the fields.
Right. So everything broke the way I needed it to. So again, last week's game really kind of meant nothing. So you want to play in week 17. You want to make it mean something. You have a chance to beat your arch rivals and potentially make a playoff in the worst division possible. Now, again, I said before, you play by the rules. The rule states someone has to win the division, and that person gets a first-round playoff game. So we're playing within the rules.
Right. So I was watching Red Zone last weekend, so I admittedly didn't see much of the Giants because they were not in the red zone very often.
No, they weren't. And it was just there was I don't know. I didn't have a good feeling of that game at all.
Is Daniel Jones healthy? I think that's my real question because they didn't.
Last week I would say no. This week I hope he's a little. This week I hope he's a little more healthy. Last week no, because he's not running.
Okay, so Dallas has a bad defense, but they shut down that rookie phenom in Philly.
Is he really a phenom? Is he really a phenom?
I mean, he had 2 phenom games. So, anyways, he was riding a hot streak. I just wanted to say it.
All right.
What do the Giants got to do? Because, I mean, Dallas has a bad defense, but Daniel Jones is hobbled. What are you thinking? They can't run the football very well, or they haven't been.
So the last 2 weeks you played the Browns, who should have a pretty good defense, right? And you play the Ravens, a really good defense. Now you're flipping the script. You're playing Dallas, who was bleeding points the first 10 weeks of the year. Now, yes, I know that they have a little winning streak going, but let's look at the opponents they've played. They haven't exactly been beating the Packers, the Saints, or the Kansas City Chiefs here, by the way. So let's keep that in perspective.
The Packers have barely beaten anybody. I think they have 2 games against winning teams, just like the Jets.
Yeah, but you're obviously playing a downgrade in defense. If Jones is healthy and he can run, we need the offensive line play a little better.
Yeah.
The problem is the Giants don't have a number 1 receiver. They have Slayton and they have Shepard and Ingram, but there's no number 1. I to this day I'm still pissed that Beckham is not there, because if Beckham was there with Jones and Barkley, I mean this could be electric. It really could.
We know your pain because the Jets have a great number 2 and 3, but they don't have a number 1, which is
right.
Your draft.
Darius Slayton would be a great number 2 receiver behind a number 1. I don't know who that number 1 is. I don't know if there's any out there in free agency next year.
Well, I don't know. There's not a team like Houston who's going to trade away their best player. So Somebody will be available, but
the Packers were asking too much apparently for Will Fuller. Or I'm sorry, the other way around. I think the Texans were asking too much from the Packers for Will Fuller. Otherwise, Will Fuller would be on the Green Bay Packers right now.
No,
that wouldn't have made a bunch of difference because he got suspended. So that would have been that would have been unfortunate. But
I'm glad you brought up Green Bay because I find it laughable that I think they currently have 3 wins against winning teams, and the Jets have 2. But if they beat the Bears, they only have 2 wins against winning teams on the year. Now, Green Bay's admittedly they look like a good football team, but they have not beaten winning teams, and they're going to play winning teams in the playoffs.
They just crushed Tennessee.
That was their second. No, I know. I know that they did. They did crush Tennessee.
But Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns and looked awesome.
Okay.
He has 45 touchdowns this year and 3 interceptions.
Okay. I will accept the fact that they passed the eye test, even if the record is weird.
But again, you play who's on your schedule, right?
Yeah, I agree.
There's really only a handful of good teams in this league, right? I guess you can throw the Packers in there. The Saints, when obviously they're all healthy, which Michael Thomas is not. The Chiefs. I don't even know if you put Pittsburgh in there right now, but
Bills, Buffalo,
right? One of the top.
There's only 5 or 6. That's it. 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah, and I mean Seattle and the Rams are kind of there, but sometimes not. So
the Rams might not even make the playoffs.
I know. Well, the Browns might not either. Both those teams lose to the Jets, and that's what happens, I guess.
Yep.
You know what? You are 100% right. I didn't even think about that. Well, those were gimme games.
If the Bears lose to Green Bay, which they probably will, then I think the Rams and Cardinals have a pretty good shot of making it.
But the Rams have to win. Isn't that a win in your in scenario for that game, Cardinals and Rams?
Oh, I think maybe you're right. Yeah.
I don't think they can both make it. I could be wrong. I don't have the standings in front of me, but I don't know if that's a win. I don't think it's a way that they can both make it.
Green Bay, New Orleans, Tampa, Seattle. Then there's 3 more.
Well, the NFC East champion.
Oh, right. The NFC East champion.
You can't forget about them.
Right now it's Chicago, LA, and Arizona. So I don't know if the Bears lose and they can still get in. I don't know. I'm not positive. I forget the.
All right, here I got it. So it's Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Tampa, Rams. Sorry, I'm looking at conference. Okay, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Washington, Tampa, the Rams, and Chicago are in right now.
Okay. Well, I think that the Bears have to win to stay in, unless. So
maybe I was wrong. So if the Bears lose, they'll be 8-8, and if Arizona beats the Rams, they'll both be 9-7. I guess that is a good scenario. Then
we got to look at who we picked at the beginning of the season because I don't want to call it chalk, but this is damn close to what we predicted.
I picked Indianapolis. I'm still in it.
You are.
I picked Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went chalk. You went major chalk.
Well, they got to win.
But I picked Buffalo and Kansas City in the championship game, and I don't know if anybody anticipated Buffalo being as good as they are.
Well, you did.
Did you really pick that? That's pretty good then.
Yeah. Well, so the Colts got to win to get in, right? And Cleveland's got to win to get in, right? Or
they all have to win.
They all got to win
because they're all 10-5 right now.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a 10-win team staying home in the AFC. And then we're going to have a 6-win team making the playoffs in the NFC.
It happens every year, though. If it's the NFC East this year, it'll be some other division next year.
I know. It's just amusing. I thought Tennessee was looking good, but then they got smoked by Green Bay. There's quite a few teams that appear to be immediate eliminations in the playoffs. Am I wrong? I mean, they feel like one of them, but they got I thought they had a good defense and running game.
I think it depends who they play because Tennessee can run the ball probably on anybody. It's just a matter of can they stop. I mean, Tennessee's defense is not good, and I think that's the reason they got shellacked by Green Bay because Green Bay's offense is that good. So I think it matters who they're going to match up. I don't know if they're a one and done, but I'll tell you who is a one and done. the winner of the NFC East. I don't care who it is. I hope it's the Giants, but they're one and done for sure. So whoever the 5th seed is getting a golden ticket to the next round.
Well, they beat.
I got to think Arizona is the same way.
Yeah, they feel like it. So the thing is, those NFC West opponents know each other well, all 3 of them, and they tend to play each other close. Now,
but whoever the last is going to play New Orleans.
Oh, right.
So if it's Arizona or the Bears or the Rams, they're going to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
I think the Rams would have a better shot because they have the better defense of the 3. But Goff has a thumb injury, so
Oh, I mean, I guess that somewhat excuses them, but they've looked bad the last 2 weeks. They got pushed around by the Jets, and then they got pushed around by Seattle. So, was it Seattle or Arizona? Seattle.
They played Seattle.
So they got really in trouble. I don't know if they can win to get in this week.
Well, if Goff's not, is Goff officially ruled out or is he questionable?
He's out. He's not playing. He's out.
Yeah, there goes that.
Do we know who their backup is? I don't.
A kid from Wake Forest. I've read he played for the Jets, Dan, last year. I don't know what his name is.
The guy that broke his leg after mono?
No, that was I forgot.
No, that wasn't him.
We just had a lot of quarterbacks last year because of all that crapness.
Awful.
So funny enough, my pessimist view of this Jets season was 3-13, I think. And they win against New England. That's exactly where they're going to sit. I never would have thought they would have put 3 wins together if you asked me a month ago. But this team under Adam Gase.
What was your optimistic view again? I forgot.
Oh,
I think it was 11-5 or something.
Let's not go there. Come on, let's not go there. It was predicated on Sam Darnold being a very good quarterback and Le'Veon Bell having a decent season.
I had him at 3-13.
Yeah, I gotta say, bud, we gave you a lot of crap at the beginning of the year for some of your record predictions. But who were your 1-win teams? Because you did a pretty good job.
I had Jacksonville at 1 win.
Yeah.
I might have the list actually here. Well, let me see if I can find it.
When you guys
let me see if I can find it. I'll be back to you.
We can give him a little crap because he also said Seattle was going to go 15-1. So.
Yeah, but they're good. I mean, they're a good team. But yeah, 15-1 was pushing it. But you do your whole sheet, right? Where you pick every game for every team.
Yeah.
Is that like a competition or just to start the season?
No, I do it for.
Don't worry.
I don't know why I do it. To be quite honest with you, it drives me insane.
You can we can come back to it next week before the.
I don't have it anywhere. I probably threw it away.
Yeah, we'll bring it next week's show if you got it, or I'll look in the archive and we can see because after the year we can really recap. I'd like to assess how we really picked the playoff teams. Not that I can't tell, like it feels so chalky, but
it is. I was just gonna say it does feel pretty chalky. I mean, the only one that's a surprise. Man, I mean, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Tampa, the Rams. I mean, I guess Chicago is probably the biggest surprise in the NFC.
I mean, I feel like they would have fallen off, and they're still on the cusp of the playoffs. So,
all right, I found them.
Oh, okay.
I had Buffalo at 10-6.
Oh, you underestimated them.
I had Philly at 12-4. Was I wrong about that?
You and everybody else, by the way.
I had Washington with only 1 win. But that was also predicated on the fact that Dwayne Haskins was playing quarterback. I think if Dwayne Haskins played quarterback for them all year, they'd have 1 win.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, I had 1 win, so I'm going to get that right.
Yeah. Tennessee,
I had 10-6, so I could still get that right.
Yep.
New Orleans, I had 13-3.
That's about where they're at, I think.
Close. They'll be 12-4.
Tampa, I had 13-3.
Okay, so a little high on Tampa.
Carolina, I had 5-11. I'm going to get that right.
Yeah. So where'd you have the Patriots? I'm just curious.
8-8. So I'm close.
Yeah, we're very close.
I had Miami 4-12 though.
Oh, so you.
And I had the Jets 4 wins.
Okay.
Kansas City, I had 14-2. That the more than likely that's going to happen because Mahomes isn't playing this week.
Yeah, they're sitting.
Pittsburgh, I had 12-4.
Okay, so that's an interesting one. Are they going to play against the Browns? Because the Browns are fighting for their playoff lives, but Pittsburgh's not playing for anything, are they?
Well, Ben's not playing.
No. Pittsburgh's still playing for seeding.
But
they're either going to be the 2 or the 3. They don't care.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, right. Because the Browns lost, they locked up the division, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they're sitting Ben. That's like a gimme game for Cleveland, but Cleveland is going to be Cleveland again. They're Cleveland it up.
Can you imagine if Cleveland wins 10 games in a season and misses the playoffs?
It happened to the Jets a few years ago.
No, I know, but I'm just with all the bad luck that Cleveland has throughout decades. This is just another
I'm sorry,
example.
but their defense was not off the field last week. They had full strength defense, and they did not play very well against the Jets.
No, I think they took them for granted. I really do. I think that it was a very similar situation to what Seattle did with the Giants a few weeks ago. I think the Rams and the Browns walked in there and said, okay, well, it's the Jets. We're going to be able to stop them defensively. And they weren't able to do it. And then they were playing catch up the whole game. And then the Jets somehow controlled the clock. Listen, if Mayfield doesn't fumble the football, I mean, they were driving down the field. They were marching down the field. If he doesn't fumble the football on 4th and half of a yard.
Yeah, God. So I wanted to say that. You have Nick Chubb, who is arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL, behind a great offensive line, and you're going to QB sneak it? Are you what? I just don't understand that.
And the Jets' best defensive lineman is out.
Right.
But give the ball to your – listen, Kareem Hunt's a pain in my ass. Let me tell you something. From all the fantasy nonsense I had to go through this year, Kareem Hunt's a pain in my ass. You have Nick Chubb, who is a monster, an absolute beat, but you're going to give it to Baker Mayfield with a 1-yard QB sneak? Give me a break.
And I expected the Jets to lose because they gave the ball back to Cleveland with plenty of time like they always do.
Plenty of time.
And
plenty of time.
Somehow they didn't lose.
And you know the only reason they lost that game is on a technicality because – with the player that fumbles the ball, he's the only person that can recover it and advance it. If someone else on your team recovers a fumble, it goes back to where the ball was recovered.
No, under 2 minutes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Under 2 minutes, right?
Well,
because Hunt recovered the fumble and ran for 2 yards.
Hunt's the reason he fumbled in the first place because he pushed him into the guy.
But that's a good rule because you could intentionally fumble the ball forward to another player. And then they could get the first down or run for a touchdown. So it's not a bad rule. It's just.
But I'm just saying they lost on a technicality because they recovered the fumble. So, but you have to go back to the original spot where it was fumbled.
They were put in a 4th and inches situation against the Jets. I mean,
the point is give the ball to your bell cow running back, not Baker Mayfield. That's all.
Well, what were they? I mean. The fact of the matter is, if they had punted, the Jets still would have given them the ball back with plenty of time. I don't know, but maybe not. Maybe there was only a minute left.
It's a stupid play call. That's all. It's a stupid play call.
It was pretty pathetic on the part of the.
But give the ball to Hunt if you want to. Just don't. I don't know. It's a stupid play. Absolutely asinine. I don't know. That's my take on that one.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with you. It was silly. It was just silly. Looking ahead to the playoffs, I mean, we all like Kansas City. We all like Green Bay. Is there like a sleeper pick? I mean, it's hard to see one.
Buffalo. I mean, I don't know if that's really a sleeper at this point. The only other team that if they make it, I believe in Tennessee. I really do. I think Tannehill can put it together, and their running game is really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see them do it because of how last season ended. They were so close, and then they fell to New England or something? I forgot who they fell to.
No, they lost to Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Right, Kansas City. Yeah, and then Kansas City beat New England.
They were winning that game too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
By like 2 touchdowns, they were winning that game.
That's right. Yeah, so I'd like to see them get back and at least have another shot at it. I mean, I don't see them going deep, but.
So who wins MVP this year?
Aaron Rodgers.
It almost has to be now at this point. It almost has to be.
Yeah, because he's just been putting up the numbers, and Mahomes kind of leveled off. Russell Wilson leveled off. They aren't dominating, and it almost
He leads the league in touchdown passes.
Yeah.
He's like third in the league in yards. He's number one in passer rating. He has the least number of interceptions in the league. I mean, and by the way, it's a 12-3 football team. So
I can't think of a running back or a wide receiver that's done anything comparable for their team. So
no, the only close non-quarterback would be Derrick Henry, but he'd have to throw up a monster game tomorrow on Sunday.
What about Travis Kelsey?
Yeah, I mean he did break Kittle's record for the season. He's got the best record, but I just don't think he's won them games. I don't think he's.
Yeah, but he's got like 1,500 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns. I mean, those are wide receiver numbers, not from a tight end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I feel like
how it's tough to give it to Kelsey when it's Mahomes throwing him the ball.
Man, what about Josh Allen?
Oh.
He should be like a comeback player, not a comeback player, but like most improved.
I think if he does it again next year, he has a real shot at MVP. I don't think that they value him because he's too young right now in the voting. But why is he most improved? I don't think he was ever bad. He's just been getting better.
Did you think he was going to be this good last year?
No.
I
thought he would be good, but I don't think anybody anticipated him. Stephon Diggs has completely changed how that offense goes.
I know he had no receivers last year, and he had not much, not a lot of weapons. But
I mean, he looked very good last season, and they were trending. He was trending up. I didn't think that Diggs would do this much for him, but that offense is like perfectly Allen's, and you're right. But I don't know. We'll see if he can maintain this level. I mean, it's hard for most people to do it.
Maybe most improved is the wrong word, but most biggest jump, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, he definitely took the leap. Nobody else in this QB class has taken it.
And this is his third year, right? So this is the year you should be making that leap.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's the only one that's made it. I mean, Mayfield didn't. Darnold. I mean, Mayfield's looked okay, but he hasn't really made the leap. He secured his job. Darnold hasn't. Lamar Jackson has secured his job, but he was hurt earlier, so it's hard to say. Or is that this year too for Jackson?
I think he played all. He missed one game due to COVID.
Yeah, but this is his third year too. He was the same draft class, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was.
How do you guys feel about Tua? Because he has looked. I mean, Miami's doing a tremendous job managing him and Fitzpatrick to win, but he doesn't feel like he has the job next season right now. That's a tough. They're drafting number 5 because of a gimme, and they could go another quarterback. That's the weak link on their team right now, and it's interesting when everything else is coming together.
I said to Phil, it can't be good to play him for 2.5 quarters and then take him out, and then Fitz comes in and leads them down the field, and then they win. You're either in it or you're not in it. And we said 7 or 8 weeks ago when they made this transition that we all felt that why were they doing it? And I think they've proved it. Like, he has not played great. They have not won these football games because Tua has played lights out football. I mean, they've won because their defense is good. They've won because their special teams makes plays. And they've won 3 games because Fitz has come in and led them to victories.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't if they make the playoffs, how do you go to Tua? I'm sorry. How do you do it?
Yeah. It seems like a stupid move to play him as the starter.
I don't get it, because what's going to happen is you're going to put him in, and then if they're losing, you're going to take him out, and then you're going to put Fitz in.
So we always have the argument: is it better for a quarterback to take his punches on the field and learn from his mistakes playing, or is it better to sit on the sidelines and watch and learn from the sidelines? This doesn't feel like it's helping Tua to me. So maybe it's each individual is specific to this situation.
It's better to take your lumps on the field to learn on the field, but not when you're in a playoff race.
Right.
Okay. And
if you're the Jets, you do it, but not when you're 10-5 and you're one more victory away from making the playoffs.
Yeah, so we all agree that it would have been better just to let him be the backup all season and learn from Fitz, who led him to the postseason.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. It doesn't happen anymore. No one really sits on the sideline unless they're a third or a fourth round pick from quarterback. Even the second rounders are expected to play early, which is silly because it's not always right decision. I'm just shocked that Tua doesn't look like he can throw the ball, and he's a quarterback. It's one thing to make bad decisions. It's another thing to not have it.
He has trouble throwing the ball. I said this to you guys a few weeks ago. He has an unorthodox throwing mechanic, and he doesn't look comfortable throwing the football. In my eyes, I'm not a coach. I'm just a guy who watches this stuff on TV. He doesn't look like he's comfortable throwing the football.
And it was his shoulder that he hurt in college, right?
It was his hip.
It was hip.
Oh, that could be causing it too. I'm wondering if he never really recovered from the injury, or he has to change his throwing motion. Because other players have had to change their throwing motion. I forget who. One of the Jets guys had to. I think Darnold was working on it between year 1 and year 2. He changed his throwing motion so he'd get the ball out quicker and more decisively. Who knows if it worked? Interesting.
We must not have a countdown clock this week, huh?
What's that?
So we must not have a countdown clock going this week.
I guess not. They threw us a bone. I don't know how long we've been talking. We reached the end of the season, and much like this particular show, it just keeps going on forever, right? I don't have anything more to say on these playoff races. You guys got any final thoughts on the Jets and Giants, who will mercifully end their reasonably crappy years?
Nope.
I'm hoping for one more good week, one more win, and then they can go one and done in the playoffs, and I'll be satisfied.
All right, one more good week for the Giants, and Bud's got his pile of Jets hopes behind him to burn in the fireplace.
It's all my jerseys.
That's good. So did you ever order that Darnold jersey from Phil? Because it should be in that pile, right?
I did. I never got a chance to wear it because no fans at the game, and next year I'll have to buy a new one because we'll have a new quarterback.
Well, I'd like to buy one, but I'm glad I passed on the Darnold one.
It's a perfect scenario for me.
And Phil, you went Barkley over Jones, right? So you get to feel a little better about your jersey selection, or?
No, I have both.
Oh, you got both. Okay.
I have both. I got Barkley 2 years ago, and I got Daniel Jones last year.
Okay. Well, we're gonna come up with something good to the highest winning of the three of us on our ATS picks for the year. I don't know who it'll be. Come down to the wire after I took a resounding lead to start the year, but it's been fun. Let's enjoy the final week of regular season before the playoffs, guys. Happy New Year.
All right.
Thank you. Be well.